Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Greetings, geeks. This is Raven coming to you from youtube.com/LockerGnome today, and I'm here to talk to you about instant messaging software. Now, we all use IM applications as part of our everyday computer life, and if you're a geek, there's a good chance you use some sort of all-in-one solution for organizing and chatting with all your contacts on the various networks, whether that be AOL, MSN, ICQ, or Google Talk. Now, typically on my desktop, actually, this is my second monitor, but y'all get the idea. I run a very specific set of communication software. I have my Skype, I have my Xfire, I have the old Mercs because I'm old school that way, and I have my Pigeon. Now, up until a couple of days ago, Pigeon was my de facto all-in-one IM client for all the different IM networks. However, there's a new kid on the block, but it's not as new as you would think. It's from a company called Cerulean-Studios, and we all know this program as Trillian. Now, I loved Trillian 2, and I used it avidly, but I was never a fan of Trillian 3 or trillian-astra. Trillian 3 seemed lacking in almost every way, whereas trillian-astra had all the same shortcomings, but with an interface that was overdone, like William Shatner's acting. It was too crowded and too busy, and I hated it for that. I think they tried way too hard to make it blend in with Windows Vista, but that's just my opinion. Recently, however, Cerulean-Studios released into beta its new iteration of their popular and long-running IM client, Trillian 5. And I have to say, I'm impressed with it very much so, and I'd like to show it to you now. So, on that note, let's just free up some real estate here. Minimize, minimize. Close Pigeon altogether because we can't be signed into two places at once. And we minimize that. Just open it up real quick here. See, very fast, opens up very fast. Now, this is what you'll be presented with the very first time you open the program. I have it so it usually logs into my username automatically, but this is what you'll see at first boot. So we'll just click my name here and log me in. It'll sign me into all my accounts. You get a really nice startup sound there, nice and calm. Now you'll see the first thing you're going to notice is this blends in really well with Windows 7. It looks like it was made specifically for Windows 7. And there's a reason for that. Because it was made specifically for Windows 7. It uses native Windows APIs. And believe me, it is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, IM client I have ever used on Windows. And I can't stress that enough, on Windows. So let's go through some of the interface features here. This is the contact list. You can scroll up and down as you wish. Now, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you see that mail thing there? It sticks there so you can access it no matter where you scrolled at. I think that's kind of convenient. So go back up to the top, and these are my mail accounts. I don't use Hotmail. I don't. If you go up here, you can actually change the size of the contacts in your contact list. And I like that feature. I like it small because simple seems way too bare minimum, and large just seems obnoxious. So I'll leave it at that. If you click on there again, you can actually go and change the theme, the color scheme of this window. I like green, but I don't think, I'm the kind of guy who likes it to blend in with the operating system. So I'm going to make it so it follows Windows color scheme. That's also another neat feature, that it follows Windows. Now, another thing here is, say you want to change your avatar. Again, just click to change your icon. It's all easily done in one click. And now a cool thing is, it will follow your Windows profile picture. I think that is just cool. So say you want to just follow your Windows profile picture. Now, because my Windows profile picture happens to be the same thing, it's just going to use that. Click on your name, change your identity. So that's my identity. Change your status. I'm not going to change that, but you can. Message. That's my status message. I'm online. Oh, hi. Now, if you look up at the top here, you can see there's a small favicon type icon, if you will, for every IM protocol that you are connected to. I think that it's very well organized up there. Now, down here at the bottom, if you look, this is probably the most prominent example of the Windows APIs at work in Trillian 5. It uses the actual desktop search backend technology. Now, say I want to search for Adam, because I have a few Adams in my contact list. Search for Adam, all the Adams come up. Search for Bitey, all the Bites come up, which is coincidentally only one. Search for Mitch. All the Mitchell Pates come up because I have them on all my protocols. Now, that is one of the coolest features when it comes to Windows APIs. Let's take a look at the actual backend, the preferences. Now, when you open up the preferences window, you'll see three different categories. You have your basics, you have your chat activities, and you have your customization. Under basics, you have your accounts as your first button. Under accounts, you can choose your protocols. You can add a new account. You know, it's pretty simple, pretty basic. Go back here. Under Trillian account, that's just your Trillian account info. I do have a licensed copy of Trillian Pro. There isn't a big difference between Trillian and Trillian Pro. I've had a license since Trillian 2.0, and if you've had a license that long, you know that it's a lifetime license because they didn't start charging for new versions until Trillian 3. Until the transition from 3 to 4, I should say. Under devices, that's basically my computer. I restarted about a half an hour ago, so you know, it's my IP address right there. Don't hack me. Status, so you can just some in-depth options on, you know, you can tell it what to do when you set your status as away. I have it so it mutes all sounds. I still like my notifications. You never know if it's something important. Sometimes the sounds are just plain annoying. You've been hearing them throughout the whole video, so go back here. Now, I went a little too far here, but if you go to contact list under chat activities, you can change how it lists and everything. Basically, you can do all this from the front end. This is just a more in-depth panel on how to do it here. Chat windows. If you you want to customize your chat window, that it works that way. Now, one of the coolest things I find here is if you want to change where your chat windows are by default, so you have two monitors. This is set up for that. You set your default, you see, and you can change where it goes by default. Now, usually I have my messenger up around here, and I like the chat window to be beside it. You can actually change the size it'll be by default, so if you want it this big, you can have it that big. If you want the text area to be this big, you can have it that big, and that's what it'll be every time you open a new chat window. And by the way, that is what the chat windows look like. So we'll cancel that because I don't want it changed. Now, you can reset it to default too, but who wants to do that? Additional options, show chat activity and whatnot. Not really out of the ordinary stuff for messengers here. Fonts and chats, you can change your font. Now, say you want to change it to something smaller because that might be a bit big. Something smaller. That's about right. But you know what? I never did like the Microsoft Seago font. So I'm going to go back to my old personal favorite. It's very primitive, I know, but that has got to be my favorite font of all time. You can change your background color. Not something I would do, but well, whatever tickles your fancy. Sound and notifications. I'm pretty sure you can guess what all this does. You can choose what actions in the program trigger a sound, things like that. Video and voice. Trillian does support video, and I can confirm that it does support cross-client video. I have a friend of mine who uses Digsby, and we were able to video conference, over the line using our different clients. So it does work. It works very well. You have your file transfers. It does support file transfers. As a matter of fact, I will set it so all my transferred in documents or files come to my desktop because I like it immediately accessible. Activity history. Now, you can record contacts, conferences, connections, text conversations, icon changes, images, everything. They give you so many options to record and save in your history. Skins. Now, I've tried some Astra skins. They didn't work out. They didn't. So I just left it at the default skin because basically this is the reason I love trillian-astra the most, is the default skin. It was made for Windows 7, and that's one of my favorite things about it. Plugins. This is what a lot of messengers are missing. Digsby being the most prominent example because it is the closest thing to Trillian 5. It doesn't have plugins. It's all it's all proprietary, and I really don't like that. I can't add things to it. One of my biggest bugaboos about it, and don't even make fun of me for using that word. One of my biggest things about it was I couldn't have an Xfire plugin. Not that I would use it now, that I actually use Xfire, but there were other problems with Digsby that prevented me from using it, I assure you. Language and startup, that's all pretty basic information. Windows integration, you can load it when your computer starts up. I don't like any program doing it. Click this, it'll put a shortcut on your desktop. I only have 3 shortcuts on my desktop, and there ain't going to be no more. And that's pretty much it as far as the back end goes. You can enable plugins here, you know. Now, once again, I have the Twitter plugin disabled because I think it's way, way too crowding in my window here. But it literally does show you all status updates and everything from Twitter. And it works for Facebook as well, and I'll show you that before the video ends, because that appears on my main monitor. So yeah, that is Trillian-5, and we'll switch over to my other monitor here just so I can show you that Facebook status thing real quick, and then we will wrap this video up. Alright, now that we're on my main monitor, first and foremost, yes, my desktop is always this clean. I'm very retentive that way. I like a clean desktop. I'm a very organized person. Now, the Facebook features in Trillian-5. Down here you can see the Trillian-5 icon, but right next to it there's a Facebook icon. That is also belonging to Trillian-5. If you click it, you get this. It is basically a mini Facebook inside Trillian-5. You got your news feed here. You can write updates, you know, check out other people's updates, comment and like stuff if you right click on their updates. You got your events. I have no new events. I have no new group invitations and no new friend requests. So there's really not a lot to show you there. But yeah, that's about the extent of that. Now, I should note that there is a Mac version of Trillian-5, and as you can see here, it looks like it fits into the OS X environment exceptionally well. That is because it's made for OS X specifically. It uses key OS X technologies like Spotlight and Cocoa. You know, it is really built specifically for the Mac. And that's not to say that it's not going to take a lot, like a lot, for me to switch from Adium to Trillian on the Mac, because I have fallen in love with Adium. But this is worth your time to look at. It is in alpha right now. It's not feature complete and should not be relied upon. That's what the website says, and I trust them when they say that. But it is something that everyone should try at least. It's definitely worth a try. It cannot really hurt anything. See, the beauty of Trillian is you log in on a Windows machine if you have Trillian on there, and you know you log off. But if you log on the Mac machine with a Mac version of Trillian, all your contacts are there, organized the way you had them organized on the Windows machine, you know, in the same categories. It's all in sync, and I think that is awesome. I think that's beautiful. And you can see it really takes on the Mac look, and I like that. But again, Adium is still on top for me, at least until I try this a bit more. Anyways, yes, this has been Raven on behalf of LockerGnome.net, LockerGnome.com, and YouTube.com/LockerGnome. You guys have a great day.